OpenAI has just released their brand new agent builder, and after building many agents on platforms like N8N, Make, and Zapier, I'm really excited to use this one. While it's definitely not a replacement for those platforms, it does lower the barrier to entry for the people new to this space who want to start jumping in, getting their hands dirty, and building right now, and even integrating with some of the services that they are already using, like SharePoint or Google Drive, Shopify, Stripe, and etc. They're all in there. In today's video, I want to talk about the agent builder itself, look at an agent that I have already built, and then we'll build one together. Looking at the OpenAI documentation, we can see very clearly that we have access to the best and the newest models from OpenAI, but we also still have access to some of the legacy models, which certainly do have their place. And right below, we can see here that the models, or these agents, sorry, can read and generate text, as you'd very much expect, but they can also generate images. They can be built into agentic applications. They use vision and model capabilities, and you can even build apps with audio. So you can analyze, transcribe, and generate audio with API endpoints. Let's jump into an agent. So this is a very simple agent that I built earlier today, and it achieves a very simple purpose, which is to sit as a help widget or web assistant on a website to engage the users that have just come in and are a bit curious. It will then determine if they have a problem and if one of our products will help to solve that problem. It will then transfer you to a specialized product agent. So you can see here that I have a general consultant agent, right? That handles all of your general inquiries. And then we have the voice creator and the booking boost agents. So those are the product specific agents that can answer more in-depth questions about products. They can also help to ask more probing questions. And then once all that has happened, we can also book a consult call directly in this agent, and that will go straight to my calendar. So let's have a conversation with this agent. So I'm just going to hit preview and we can see what happens. So let's just zoom in there. And remember, I'm just a customer. So this is the Ethereum website. And very soon you'll be able to see a little widget down there that is there for you to talk to if you need help, if you want clarification, or you'd like to book a consult call or anything in between. This is that agent. So let's talk to it. I am a mortgage broker who needs to make a lot of calls to their clients, to my clients in the next couple of months. And I don't have the team that are big enough to deal with that. Let's play that. So I'm just going to say, hello, can you help me? Super simple. So we'll see here that a few things are happening. So the first is that we've gone through this jailbreak guardrail. Now this is very important, and it means that every single time a user sends a message to this agent, there is a guardrail in place to make sure that there's no funny business going on. Next, we have a classifier agent. So this, again, very, very simple. All it's doing is making sure that our message is being routed to the correct agent, which in this case is the general consultant agent. And you can see all of this here in the preview / like debugging window. So you can see that we've gone through the jailbreak, we've passed because I'm not trying to jailbreak the agent. We've gone through the classifier who has said that this is just a general inquiry, and now we are speaking with the general consultant agent. So I've said, hello, can you help me? And it's come back with absolutely. What's brought you in today? Are you exploring ways to improve something specific in your business, or are you just looking to see what solutions are out there? So I'll say, I'm a mortgage broker who needs to make a lot of repetitive calls to my clients in the next couple of months. And I don't have the staff to do that. I don't have the staff to make them all fast enough. All right, now let's see what happens. So we've passed the jailbreak summary again, of course. We're going through the classifier agent who has now routed me to general again. And this is because you may have seen that voice creator was flashed on the screen here for a second. So it knows that this is probably going to be a voice creator problem to solve, but we're not there yet. We haven't identified that. So it said, thanks for sharing. Sounds like handling a high volume of outbound calls, putting some pressure on your team. Just to clarify, it is mostly about booking appointments, following up on applications, or just sharing updates with your clients. This helps me point you in the right direction. Sorry, the best solution for your situation. Now, most of my calls as a mortgage broker are to existing clients, and this is to share new updates with them. What type of updates? Let's give some more information. So some regulations have changed and we need to collect some more information. I'm also going to say that the information that we need to collect from each client is the same. All right, so we passed the jailbreak. We've gone to the classifier and we're still with general. That's really helpful. Thank you. Regulatory updates, collecting the same information is a challenge. Lots of busy professionals face, which is completely true. This happens all the time, whether it be mortgage brokers, insurance brokers, all those sorts of industries. I've worked with quite a few of them, and they all face this similar problem, which is when something changes or when they need to collect a new piece of information from their client base, which might be 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 people, all of a sudden that's a really big task for a very small team. And you can see here that the agent has introduced itself as well. So we're Atheron, we build AI solutions that can handle repetitive communication tasks like these for your situation. Our voice creator product could be a great fit. You can call your clients, deliver your update message, and collect the information that you need, while all sounding natural and keeping the processes efficient. Would you like to explore how Voice Creator can help streamline this process? How does it work? Okay, so now we're talking about Voice Creator, and we have routed to the Voice Creator product. And now the agent that specializes in Voice Creator is going to answer those more in-depth questions. It'll probe for some more information if it needs to, and then when it's finished, it will also prompt you to make a consult call with us. Happy to explain. To tailor it to you, let's ask a quick couple of questions. How many clients need calling? So I say, let's say we have 2,000 clients in the next 3 months. What data points do you need? I need their tax ID numbers. And after each call, what should happen? Now, this is a very important step when you are building a voice agent. It's all well and good to make a conversation, to create a conversation with AI, to have that conversation. But what happens with the information at the end? Ideally, the CRM is updated, which is the first suggestion. And that is the most seamless way for a business owner to collect information, is to have it injected directly into their CRM, unless they have other specific requirements. But typically, this is the best way forward. So yeah, into my CRM is perfect. And then, would you like to book a follow-up call if something's missing? If the user requests to book a follow-up. And you can see here that it's asking these questions in bullet points. Now, this is not something that you would do via a phone conversation, but when it's written down, it's easy to read those questions and to answer them all at the same time, which means that by doing it this way, you're cutting the conversation down to, well, from maybe 10 responses for, one for each question, down to 3 or 4. Now, this is really interesting. It looks like we have failed the jailbreak guardrail, and I think it's because I've said I need their tax IDs. So let's try and fix that now. So let's close this and let's try again. Let's look at this jailbreak guardrail. Now you can see that it is going to stop any sort of funny business going on, but I've set it to a very small model, 4.1 nano. So it's not doing a very good job of reading the conversation history before making an assumption. So let's just turn that up to 5 mini. Hello, I'm a mortgage broker. So, hello, I'm a mortgage broker who needs to call my 2,000 existing clients to get some new information as the regulations have changed. All right, so we've passed the jailbreak. This is the classifier. So the classifier will probably route us back to the general agent again because this is a brand new conversation. All right, it's hit with general. Sounds like you've got a big task ahead. That's exactly what the kind of challenge where the right conversational agent can save you time and effort. Perfect. Just so I understand your priorities, is it the main goal to collect these new details as quickly and accurately as possible? Are you also hoping to improve client engagement or reduce manual calling? So you can see here is what it's doing is it's asking, and this is how we've prompted it, is it's asking about a pain point and it's trying to understand where you're coming from. And then that it can use that information to better give you a response. All right. Now, let's actually take a step back and let's build this agent together, and you can see the prompts in each agent and how it flows from there. All right, so this is a brand new workflow inside of the Agent Builder platform. You can see there's simply a start and an agent with nothing in it. All right, so we'll start by deleting this because we don't need it, not yet. We will start with the guardrails. And you can go into it and you can see that we're going to turn on a jailbreak detection. And we'll just run this as 5 mini again, and I'll turn the confidence down. Now, you will need to fine tune this yourself, but this is just a default value that you can then tweak later. Now, if you'd like to, you can also have this scrub any personally identifiable information. So if for whatever reason someone was to give, let's have a look, their credit card number, for example, a bank account number, a passport number, anything like that, and for a number of different countries too. This guardrail will remove that information before the agent can see it. Now, this would be useful in many situations. Let's say you have a Shopify store and you have a customer service agent, but you don't ever want that agent to handle any sort of payment details. Then this is a quick and easy way of making sure that agent can never see personal information. All right, so we've just got the jailbreak on for now. That's all we need. Now, if it fails the jailbreak, then I'm just going to put in here an end. Simple as that. We're not going to go anywhere. If it fails the jailbreak, that's it. Okay. Now, next, what you could do is you could just hand this off to an agent. Now, this agent would be responsible for everything, essentially. This is the end of the workflow. Now, this is useful in simple situations where it's just a basic conversation, quick back and forth. Now, you can even give this access to a couple of specific websites or a file search if you want to upload a few specific files. But we're going to go deeper than that. So we're going to get rid of this for now. And I'm going to bring in, sorry, I'm actually going to create another agent. So we're going to bring in another agent. And this is our classifier, right? So it is going to determine so the classifier agent is going to interpret the conversation that has already been happening, or if it's a brand new conversation, then it will interpret the first request, and then it will figure out where to send that request from here. Okay, so I will paste in the prompt that I have bit by bit so you can read along. So role and purpose, this is where you always start. You are a conversation router. Your task is to review the conversation so far and determine which stage or product-specific agent should handle the next step. Very simple. Now, what happens if this is a brand new conversation and there is no conversation so far? Well, that's where this comes in. Okay, you always begin with the general agent. You only route to the product agent after the general agent has suggested a product and the user is one of the following. So the user can explicitly agree that this is the right product, or they can ask follow-up questions about that product, or they can continue the conversation naturally, as if that product is a solution, even if they haven't explicitly confirmed, or they are sharing details that are clearly relevant to that product's context and only that product's context. Okay. Now, I'm also going to put in here that we do not require explicit confirmation. Implicit acceptance is okay. So if they continue to answer questions about a product, they're discussing related use case, or they're not objecting to what the general agent is suggesting, then that's enough to keep this moving. And then below here, we've got classification options as well. So these are our options here. So there's the general agent, and that will always come up first. Then we have the voice creator agent. So the voice creator agent specializes in the voice creator product and will answer questions about that product. Similar with Booking Boost, the Booking Boost agent is a specialized agent and will answer questions about Booking Boost. And we have a consult call as well. So this is when the user wants to book a consult call, then they'll route here. And you can read the instructions as well. So I'll hit save, right? And that is our classifier agent. Now I'm going to set this to GPT-5 Mini because we don't need the full computational power of a GPT-5 for this prompt. Mini is more than enough to handle this. And we'll leave the reasoning as low as on low as well. You can get less and you can test with that. You should test with that because the smaller the model and the less the reasoning, the faster the response at the cost of some intelligence. So we'll leave this as low. And then as for the output format, now this agent won't be talking to the user. It's just routing the conversation to the next step. So I'll show you what that looks like. We're going to change the output format to JSON, and then we're going to add schema. Right? So leave this as response schema, that's okay. And then we're going to add a property. And I'm going to call this product. Change this to an enum. And then we'll type in all the different agents that the conversation can continue forwards with. So voice creator, Booking Boost, a consult call, and a general agent. And this is the product/agent. Very, very simple. Now make sure your description is useful because this will be interpreted by the agent. In this case, it will be by the classifier agent. Okay. Now we need to figure out how to route. And that's very simple because we'll just use the if else. Okay. So we're going to click on the if else. And then we're going to add all the different cases we need. So we'll have a general agent. We'll have a consult call. Actually, I'll put that down the bottom because that'll be a more complicated flow. Consult call. We'll have voice creator. And we will have Booking Boost. Okay. And then the condition is pretty straightforward as well. So it is, this will be the same for each one except for the end. So it'll be input dot output underscore past dot, whoops, hang on. Input dot output underscore past dot product equals equals general. Oops. Right, and you can copy this across for all of them. Voice creator. And you can even spell it right. That is particularly important. Now, it is very important that your spelling here, right, is identical to the spelling here. This needs to match this. the if else. And again, spell it correctly. Okay. So the conversation will start. It will go through the guardrails, through the classifier agent, which will determine where we're off to next. So we'll start by building the general agent here. And I'll also placeholder all of the next agents too. So let's start by building out the general agent prompt. So this is the first agent that the user will speak to when they land on the website. It needs to be broad, it needs to be friendly, it needs to be conversative, and it needs to just ask a couple of surface level questions to understand what the user or what the person who's visiting the website, what are they here for? Okay, so we're going to start by, as always, the role and the purpose. So this just says very clearly, you're a friendly, consultative showroom host for Ethereum. Now, I've picked showroom here because when you walk into a showroom, obviously a number of different things are going to be on display, and the person that greets you first, it's their role to understand why you've walked in and what you're looking for. And it's the same purpose or the same situation here. Why are you on the website? What are you here for? So your job, I'll just fix that formatting. Your job is to welcome the visitor and understand from a high level what brought them here, right? So we're not getting into the nitty gritty. This is just high level. We're going to answer basic questions about Ethereum and the products. We're going to identify which Ethereum solution or product might be relevant based on their situation. And we're going to naturally guide the conversation towards a deeper exploration of that situation before it hands off to the certain agents without ever directly mentioning handoffs, transfers, specialists, or anything like that. This is very important. So keep in mind, this agent is not to diagnose the full problem or conduct a deep discovery. That is the role of the specialist agents. So this is simply just here as a high-level overview. Okay, and next we're going to give it instructions on how to have the conversation. So we're going to start with an opening. So we are starting broad and welcoming. Begin with open, friendly questions to understand why they are here without assuming any products or use cases. Do not make assumptions. That's not helpful. Next, we're going to understand the bigger picture. And that starts with just some light context. We're asking 1 to 2 surface level questions to clarify the goal or situation just enough to route them correctly to the next agent. Next, once the user gives a little bit of information about who they are and what they're looking for, or what problem they're trying to solve, then we can come back and we can give them some information about Ethereum. Remember, this is a two-way conversation, and if they're asking for help, they might need some more context. So we're going to share who we are, briefly introduce Ethereum and the main product options to anchor the conversation. Next, now that we have identified what their problem is, it's time to pass them on to the specialist agent. So we route and we confirm the transition. So once you understand their goal, you seamlessly continue the conversation toward the relevant solution. Don't mention that we're switching agents, just instead make the next part of the conversation feel natural. We have some do's and don'ts. Now, this is also quite a useful way of quickly telling the agent things that you do want it to do and you do not want it to do. So if you're building an agent and it's walking off or it's not doing things that you want, try adding a couple of these. We'll save that. And I'll call this just the general agent. Now, for all these just more basic conversation agents, I actually prefer to use 4.1 as my model, just because it's a little bit smaller. It is better at having a general conversation, and GPT-5 introduced a lot of reasoning and general abilities, which are fantastic, but we don't need them here. So we're going to run with a smaller model so that the responses happen a little bit faster. Now, I'm also going to give this agent the ability to look at our website. So I'm going to say www.ethereum.com. Right? So the agent can look at this website, it can scrape all of this data, and then it can figure out which one of these products we're talking about. Now you'll notice that I've only built in here Voice Creator and Booking Boost, and later on we'll be building out the rest of the products as well, but that'll come later. Okay, now you can go ahead and create agents for the product specific ones as well. Now these are going to be more or less the same, except it will dive a little bit deeper. So I'll just run you through one of these very quickly so you can see what's different. Okay, so you can see that it is a product specialist, right? So we are to deeply understand the challenges and how they impact their goals, right? We reflect and validate the pain points, and we show how Voice Creator can directly address those problems, and then guiding them towards the next step, which is a consult call. So this is a very basic sort of 1, 2, 3 step sales process where it comes in, it understands what their problem is, it understands if the solution that it has is a match for those problems, which it likely is if we've already gotten to this step, and then we push for a consult call so that that person can speak to one of us. So we'll save that and we'll call that Voice Creator. Very, very simple. And then I will also paste in the Booking Boost agent. And again, 4.1 and 4.1. Now, I'm also going to give these two agents access to their respective websites. So voicecreator.ai and Booking Boost. All right, and that's it. That is your web assistant built with a general agent that understands a little bit about why you're coming in, and then also your product specialist agents that can handle those deep dives and to suggest solutions that directly match the problem that the user is facing. All right, so that was a really quick look at how you can build a conversational agent for yourself, for your business right now with almost no outside help, if at all. To move from here, you can add in a number of different integrations. So you can add all your calendars, you can add payment processors like Stripe if you want to be able to sell things directly through an agent. You can talk to Shopify if you wanted to pull tracking data for a parcel, if someone wants to know where that parcel was. You can do almost an infinite amount of things. And not to forget, sorry, that you can also add lots of different tool calls and MCP servers, that sorts of thing, which there are plenty of videos on right now. So I hope this was useful for you, and get out there and start building. And if you have any questions or if you'd like a hand, my information and my email will be down below. Feel free to reach out. Cheers.